This map is where we finally start to gain somewhat of a real amount of experience from defeating enemies again. There are generals and great knights everywhere, so it's a good idea to bring things like the hammer, armor slayer, and sting shuriken. There's also a lot of heroes and a few berserkers, but those aren't too threatening on this map. The only scary enemies here are the sorcerers, since they have 1-2 range and target resistance. Even my most resistant units are taking over 10 damage per hit without rallies. There are fire orbs that also target resistance. These are more threatening than the ones we saw in Chapter 22, since the lack of cover makes a real difference now that enemies have more mixed weapon types. We can still at least be sure that the sorcerers will never move off the fire orbs unless they see a kill, so they're easy to deal with on their lonesome. Before starting, Shigure is going to become a Malignite. I do want him to get Savage Blow and especially Trample to help out with his damage output. It's not very costly to do so since most of my reclassing shenanigans have already concluded. We'll focus on taking out the units to the south of our team first. Before doing anything else, Shigure will use his rallies for Kaze and Sakura. Rhajat heads just a few tiles down to take out the first general, which she can do by herself with the Tiger Spirit. Sophie is now able to use Rhajat's dual strike to kill the second general, since she's a little bit short of one rounding without a crit on her lonesome.
Nice.
For general number 3, Kaze is able to one-round it with the armor slayer. I was pretty surprised that he was able to reach this benchmark without tonics, but I guess that's in part to elbow room and feeding him an energy drop.
Fare thee well.
There are still 3 enemies that are threatening my army in the south, and we really can't afford to keep a single one of them alive since Kaze just lost a ton of HP. Kiragi can use his flight to go over the orb in the way and take out the sorcerer. Killing him also notably gives us 10,000 gold, which is going to be very useful in the coming maps since we're probably going to have to spend a lot more on weapons and tonics.
Hey.
Hinoka receiving the boots allows her to fly all the way down and reach one of the Great Knights and kill it with the sword catcher. On this turn, I also could have used Swap on Hinoka to get here without the boots, but she will want that extra point of movement more than one time on this map, so it's not totally useless.
Not strong enough. What?
None of my other units can reach the final Great Knight, so the best option is to have Azura sync to Sophie so she can kill it with the Sting Shuriken. It's important that Sophie does it over Kaze or Rhajat because she needs the experience more than Rhajat does, and using Kaze would depend on me needing to dodge at least one attack.
I will do my duty. Let me help. I did it.
We still have a lot of units to work with to start taking out some of the enemies on the east and western side of the maps. One problem that these enemies pose is that most of them are aggressive on enemy phase, which means we're at the mercy of a ton of random enemy movement. Luckily, we can remove almost all important variation by sticking a unit in all of their ranges and having that unit one-round them. It's too dangerous for my other units to go that deep into enemy lines, so Mitama will bait out only the closest berserker on this turn.
We won't give up.
All right. No mercy. I can help you.
Back to sleep now.
One important thing to note is that she actually can't kill the sorcerers on her own. She's 2 damage off. However, that's actually a good thing more than a bad thing, since it allows me to feed some of my other units easily on the next turn.
Sweet dreams. It's done.
Because of the way the sorcerers moved, the third hero in the group Sakura fought was unable to reach her. She'll have to kill him on this turn instead, but before that Shigure will fly over to kill the sorcerer and help his axe training.
My heart is singing. My song is pure.
Dwyer kills the second one, since he still wants to gain experience until he gets inspiration.
No complaints, right?
I won't let you get hurt.
The way the enemies on the right side move is slightly random, but thankfully no matter what they do, we can always use the sorcerer's range as a guideline for where we should be putting our units. We want Mitama outside of its range, but inside of the 2 heroes' range. She'll always be able to accomplish this by going on the tile directly below Kana, where she then body blocks enemy ranges to allow Corrin to back her up.
Here I am.
To be absolutely safe, we want Shigure to come over and apply his rallies to Mitama, but he's already used his action on this turn, so we'll have to have Azura pair up with Selkie to reach him. Selkie on her own can't reach Shigure, but if Hisame uses Swap to send Selkie 1 tile north, she'll have just enough movement to make it there. Azura doesn't want to stay paired up with Selkie, so she transfers her to Shigure before singing to him. It's important that Shigure rallies from below Corrin instead of above or to his right, because he doesn't want to go in enemy range, and we need Selkie to serve as a dual strike partner for Kana against the Berserker.
I'm with you.
The units that took out the southern enemies have to play catch up. Thankfully, most of my units down here are either close enough or have very high movement, so it's not a problem getting everyone back here. Rhajat makes sure to use Rally Luck for Mitama, since the heroes have a 1% chance of getting a crit on her otherwise.
All right. How did you do that? I am richer for the experience.
We'll focus on the 3 Great Knights approaching our team first. Sakura kills the furthest one, since she's the safest unit I have for frontline duty. Sophie is now free to go below Sakura and kill a second Great Knight with the Sting Shuriken.
I'm ready. Ooh, I can do this! Nice!
This last Great Knight can conveniently be killed outside of any other enemy ranges, so we can safely kill with Kaze's Armor Slayer without worrying about him facing a chance of death. After he gets healed, of course.
Quickly now. Remain calm.
The hero that dual struck for the enemies that Mitama fought last turn can sit on a random tile, but since Mitama has access to 2 range, she'll always be able to kill it without having to move at all.
Star-crossed.
We won't give up. I won't surrender!
Poetry in motion.
Kana then moves next to Mitama to get into dual striking position for Hisame, who can one-round the sorcerer thanks to her help.
Let's go.
Hisame does face a chance of death assuming he gets hit by both the sorcerer and the berserker, so it's better to have Rhajat kill the berserker before I use Hisame.
I believe in you. You deserved it.
Let's end this quickly.
We've got this. You're not done yet.
As expected.
For the generals on the left side, we'll have Shigure take out one of them on enemy phase. He can't reach there with his current movement, so we'll have to have Hinoka carry Azura over to him after he just moves a bit closer to his destination.
No need to worry.
Stay with me. We're not alone. Everything will be just fine.
Kiragi goes above Selkie to kill the hero with her support.
Who's the man?
The 2 generals that Sophie and Sakura are in range of will always die to them, but there are situations where the Great Knights end up in a position that makes it so my units aren't going to be dual striking for each other. To make the enemies behave in a consistent way no matter what, Selkie can go in range of one of them since she'll always be the more ideal target. Hinoka separates Takumi from Azura, and it's important that Hinoka goes as far south as possible while doing this in order to meet up with some reinforcements next turn.
I'm here to help. Yes!
I'll try not to get in your way.
Part of why I had Selkie bait one of the generals is because it also guarantees an extra chance for Kiragi to build support points with her. This is Kiragi's final map, which means I need to make sure that they can reach S support by the end of it.
I'll try harder next time.
In some situations, the general that attacks Sakura can live, since we can't always rely on her being directly above Sophie. In cases where that happens, Sakura would take an extra turn to kill the general. To be somewhat consistent with my unit placements, she just waits.
I won't let you get hurt.
Sophie is able to go up to the sorcerer on the orb and kill it with exact damage thanks to quick draw and elbow room.
I have no choice. Well, what?
Because she levels up in strength here, we can also rely on her being able to kill sorcerers on enemy phase since strong riposte will now be active. Selkie and Kaze move towards the bridge on the far right of the map. Reinforcements will spawn here, and getting a head start on my positioning will make it a lot easier to deal with them.
Main call. Give me a break.
Reinforcement heroes also arrived on the left side of the map. I want to take out this general without going in range of those reinforcements, so Rhajat makes quick work of it.
Filthy cowards.
Most of my other units here don't want to be in range of any of the heroes either, but they will all move up. Takumi uses the Dragon Vein to slow the Malignite reinforcements down way later in the map.
I'm sleepy.
Corrin puts Mitama in range of one of the heroes just to feed her a little bit of experience.
We won't give up.
Ready for this?
Shall we?
Be careful.
I'll do my worst.
Everything will be just fine.
A bunch of wyverns just spawned in the bottom left corner of the map. The way we're gonna handle most of them is have Hinoka sit in all of their ranges with the dual Naginata, where she has perfect avoid against them as long as the wyverns aren't in attack stance. Unfortunately, she can't clean one round on her own, but the likelihood of her being in any real danger during this is extremely low.
Here I am.
So sleepy.
It may seem overkill to put Hinoka this deep into the wyvern's ranges, but it's important to keep in mind that if she fails to kill one, the side that she was attacked from will be blocked off. I need to make sure that all 4 wyverns will always be able to attack her on this enemy phase. And it also helps to keep the wyverns further away from my other units that are dealing with their own set of reinforcements.
I'll back you up. Victory is mine.
On this map, I do get a little bit lazy with my planning since I'm able to be a lot less precise with how each of my units interact with one another now that I'm not held back by nearly as many supports. Whenever I play Fire Emblem in a setting where I'm not planning out every action for the whole map, I end up doing what I do here. Think about what my current goals are for each of my units and try to cater how I play the game towards being able to complete said goals. For the left side, that means I'm trying to work on a few things. Shigure's axe rank needs to get to C before the next map to use the dual club, and I want Takumi's shuriken rank to reach D and get access to more than just brass weapons. Kana and Hisame need to continue working on their support ranks, and Rhajat and Corrin both need to work towards getting their respective level 15 skills. On the right side, the workload is a lot smaller. The only things that absolutely need to happen between everyone here is Selkie and Kiragi's S support and Sophie and Dwyer needing to reach level 15. Kaze and Sakura will of course still get a lot of training on the side, but they've already fulfilled everything they wanted to get done in this playthrough, so everything that they do is not as urgent.
I've got you. Good.
Rhajat could go north and kill a sorcerer, but she takes a lot of damage from them and it puts her in range of a berserker. Instead, we're gonna sit back as we chip down the reinforcements that go up to turn 20. This is where the real fun begins, so I'll use this long process to discuss some important things that are going into the next few chapters. We're getting to the point where our team is being fully finalized. Units are starting to achieve their level 15 skills, supports are pretty much done, and after this map, we only have chapters 25, 26, Invasion 3, 27, and Endgame. So who's going to be part of the final team? A lot of who you see here is it. Corrin, Sakura, Kaze, Mitama, Azura, Shigure, Hinoka, Selkie, list goes on. The only units that are still working on supports are the ones that are getting permanently dropped for the remainder of the playthrough, barring Selkie because she's been a massive investment project that I don't want to drop. Yukimura and Midori, who aren't deployed here, are my other two main units, and I intend on bringing back Ryoma for the last few maps. For the most part, reclassing is completely done. The only thing that I have planned for my units going forwards is reclassing Corrin out of Swordmaster and into Hero for the remainder of the game. We've seen Hero on Felicia before, but it's particularly nice on Corrin because getting Axebreaker on him will trivialize one of the scariest parts of Chapter 27. After he gets Axebreaker, I might consider reclassing him back into Hoshido Noble, but he likely won't need the extra base strength in the end, so don't count on it. Another thing I can consider is putting Ryoma in Paladin, which gives him more bulk and more movement. He'll likely do this towards the end, since Paladin on him is a really easy way to keep his ball rolling, especially in a setting where he isn't in pair-up all the time. You may suggest that I should reclass Kaze back into Master Ninja after all this time, but I honestly don't think he needs it. This is the map where we really get Sophie online. She's going to effectively solo the entire right side of the map, and after a while, she'll build her shuriken rank and experience high enough to where Kaze won't even be able to come close to replicating what she can do. Mechanist is also an option, but the same problem comes up when compared to the 3 other mechanists I'll be using. It's better for him to keep a niche, which is to be a high move shelter bot that has the capability to double any enemy he wants on player phase. I also intend on reclassing Hinoka to Spearmaster on the next map, mainly for fun, but also because she's high enough level to where I can now do one of my personal favorite builds to do in this game. Stay tuned for that. In this map, I already mentioned the reinforcements go up to turn 20. These reinforcements start with all of the Berserkers, Heroes, and Wyvern Lords, but eventually we're going to get to a lot of Sorcerers and Malagnites on the right side of the map. That's where Sophie is going to get pretty much all of her training in, since I really want her to get C rank in Shurikens and level 15 before the map ends. Doing that will save me around 2,000 gold in the next map, since she will have enough damage output to skip a Forge and Tonics when dealing with the bulkier Dark Knights. Remember that with the damage stacking skills in this game, the damage is added per hit. That means that Shuriken Faire is making her deal 10 extra damage to every single enemy that she doubles. Likewise, Corrin will also be grinding to level 15 in this map. He wants to get out of Swordmaster and into Hero as soon as he can, and having Swordfare and the higher base strength will help him one-round bulkier enemies. As it is right now, Corrin actually can't one-round enemies like Great Knights or Wyvern Lords without a crit or a very strong dual strike. That's a problem, because these are types of enemies that we'll be mostly facing from here on out, now that we're officially in Nor. Having a strong, reliable way to take out at least some of these is something that is very heavily desired, especially in the case of this challenge where stray enemy wyverns can pose as a very real threat. Our last unit that is really grinding for a Faire skill, though she won't get it on this map, is Rhajat. There's not too much to note here, other than the fact that Tome Faire will just make it easier to reach one-shot benchmarks. As a side tangent, I always found it kinda weird that they gave Tome Faire to the class from the route that can't actually get any real tomes. It'd also make way more sense for Sorcerer to get it anyways, because that's the S-rank class for tomes, which is how every other Faire skill in the game works. Experience-wise, the only other unit that we really need to focus on is Dwyer. I want him to have inspiration for endgame to help with overall survivability. Not to mention the extra damage buff he'll be giving to my units to make those benchmarks easier as well. The rest of my units, while everyone does want to get level 15, are a lot less urgent and can afford to evenly spread out their experience across these last few maps we have. Units like Shigure, Mitama, and Midori should all be able to reach it naturally. As a final note, this map is Chapter 24, and all my units are still struggling to reach level 15. If you're familiar with Conquest and Revelation, you'll know that this is very unlike those games and that it's really difficult for units to actually gain experience in this route. That's why it was so important that we got all that experience from the Paralog chain. Otherwise, things like getting Hayato Quixotic for Rhajat would have just never happened, and we would have likely needed to keep things like Swordmaster Corrin for even longer than we already have. You know the deal by now. Time to enjoy the steamroll.